Hi guys, it's me, Iggy, aka Barb, and today I'm going to show you guys how to externalize an OBJ on a prop, aka ripping it. You want to do it this way because it's more efficient and it's the proper way to do an OBJ, or a prop rather. You don't want to leave the geometry in the prop because every time you load the prop, it will be using the geometry over and over and over, thusly making the scene render a little bit more slowly, moving a little bit more slowly for people who have slower machines and such. So there are actually many ways that you can do this. There's utilities out there and programs that'll actually do it for you. But say you're broke and you can't really afford to spend the money to buy a utility that's just going to rip an OBJ. Well, this way is going to teach you how to do it manually. So you don't need to have a utility to do this. You just need a little bit of time, a little bit of patience, and a little bit of know-how. So the first thing you're going to need is obviously Poser, because you're going to need to make a prop using 2012, but this will work in any version of Poser, doesn't matter. Also, you're going to need EditPad Pro or Notepad. I'm using EditPad Pro, but you can also use Notepad for it. Also mention that EditPad Pro has a light version that's free that you can also use for this tutorial. So just Google it, EditPad, and you'll find it. It'll be a free download. Okay, so let's get started. The first thing that we obviously want to do is import a prop or a wavefront OBJ. And this is what we're going to turn into a prop. I'm going to use a blunderbuss, which I had done for my Eden's Flame outfit that was on Daz. It's actually a freebie, which I'll post a link to in the tutorial. But I'm just using this as an example because it's something that I have handy and it's pretty simple to make it a prop. So just import that in, and I'm not going to like make parents or anything like that for it. I'm just going to add it, and as you can see on my right, I actually already have it done, but for the purpose of this tutorial, I'm going to do a second one. I'm just going to name that Blunderbuss 2. So now it's a prop, and now I'm going to open it. Oops, in EditPad. No, that's not the folder I want. I'm going to browse to my prop folder. And there's my blunderbuss, my second one. And you'll notice that when I open this, there's a lot of extraneous information in this. A lot of extraneous information that we don't necessarily want. Some of it we do, and some of it we're going to keep, but we're going to just kind of move it into a different file. So basically, to start off, the first lines of code, this is actually a block that we're going to highlight. And you can see it says geom custom, and then it shows the number of vertices and such. We're going to cut this because we don't need that at all. So we're just going to use the scissors, or we can backspace, whichever. We just want to get rid of that completely. The next, you're going to see a series of numbers next to V. These are basically your vertices in the geometry, and it keeps going. It's very long. It's like a mile long. These are your facets and so forth. And we want to go all the way to the end of this, which can be difficult to find, but it's usually right there. And you're going to see two brackets right here. We're going to cut those. Now, we need to highlight this long line of code here. But how do we do that? Well, in EditPad, what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to hold Shift while you do this. So what you're going to do is you're going to hit Select All by left-clicking on your mouse, just like that. And let me get rid of that. Then we're going to hold Shift, and we're going to click right here. that's going to unhighlight this bottom part because we don't want this to be part of our selection. Then we're going to come all the way up here, and then we're going to hold shift again, and we're going to start right at the left side of this bracket, and we're going to hold shift and unselect all of that. So basically, this long line of code is all we're going to have left in our selection. So we're going to go up here and we're going to cut that. And this is what you should have left. Even though we cut that long line of code, geometry, whatever you want to call it, we're not going to get rid of it. We're actually going to open a new file, just like I just did. I went to File and then New, and I'm going to paste it in here. You can use Control+V, or you can right-click and hit Paste. Either or does the same thing. Now, now that we have our geometry code in this file, we want to clean it up just a little bit. First of all, you can see that it's indented. So what we're going to do is we're going to select that space. We're going to go to Search, Show Search Panel, and then this is going to put that space here in your search. In your Replace receptacle, whatever you want to call that space, we're going to just hit nothing. And then we're going to hit Replace All. What that's going to do is, as you can see, move it all the way to the left. Now, if you really want to be picky, you can get rid of the other extraneous spaces in here. And then you have perfectly saved geometry code. So now what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to save this as, and we're going to go to Geometries, and we're going to find our folder. I'm just going to drop this in Eden's Flame, and I'm going to name this Blunderbuss 2. And that's going to save that as a text file. Before we can go back to our prop and code it correctly, we have to do one more thing. And this is going to entail me having to minimize everything so I can show you exactly what that is. We're going to browse to our geometry folder where we just saved that text file. And there's our blunderbuss. But there's a problem here because, as I said, it's a text file. So how do we turn it into an OBJ? Well, first of all, if you're using Windows, you have to set it so that it sees the extensions on your files. Otherwise, it's just going to show blunderbuss here, but without the extension of .txt. So in order to do that, we have to go to the properties of the folder. Not that property. Is it properties? No. It's folder search options. And then we're going to come here. Now you can see right here I have unchecked hide extensions for known file types. If I had this selected, see what happens over here? It hides the extensions. So we want this unchecked so that it shows us the extensions. Again, because it wasn't exceedingly clear, we're going to click on Organize on any folder, go to Folder Search and Options, then we're going to go to the View, and you'll find the hide extensions for known file types right here. And then you just click OK or Apply, and now we can see our extensions. So now that we can see our extensions, all we're going to do is change the extension to OBJ. When it asks you that if you want to change it, you tell it yes. And now that is an OBJ. So now we're going to come back over here, and we can close this now that we've made that a proper OBJ. Now, in the prop itself, there are 2 lines of code that are going to go here, and then an end bracket. And this code is always the same for props. So no matter what you do, whenever you do this, it's always going to be the same. It starts with storage, and note that storage is lowercase. Then offset, and note that offset is capitalized. 0, 0.34870. And we're going to return it, hit the tab, and then we're going to go OBJ file geom And then we're going to hit 0, 0, and then we're going to type out the path to our newly created OBJ. Yours will obviously be different than mine. 100 plus 2 OBJ. Oops, OBJ. Then we're going to enter one more time, tab it one more time, and then we're going to end the bracket. And you'll see this is a start bracket and this is an end bracket. You have to have this end bracket or it will say that it's incorrect syntax. So we're going to come back over to Poser and we're going to refresh our folder just to make sure that Poser is seeing the correct one. And then we're going to go ahead and load this blunderbuss just to make sure it works. And it does. And now we have an externalized OBJ, and no matter how many times we put this in the scene, it's always going to be loading off of the main OBJ instead of loading the geometry over and over and over. This will make it run more efficiently in the scene so that it doesn't slow your computer down and such. And that's pretty much all there is to it. I hope you learned something, and I hope you join me next time. Thanks.